Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome, race fans, to the Southern National Motorsports Park. This morning, I almost said this tonight, but this morning, it's PSI TV with the call here at the Speedway, and it is the Virtual Oval D-Class Series. These guys are from across the pond. These guys are from in Europe, so if you're one of our usual American friends, this might be something a little bit different. It's a form of racing that you're probably used to, but some interesting names that Brennan and I have been working for the last 20 minutes or so to figure out. But quite honestly, we've been here watching these guys practice, and I think we're pretty excited for this race. It's pretty early in the morning for both of us, really, to be doing a broadcast, but I'm pretty excited to be able to do this race for these guys, and yeah, these guys are just finishing up practice. We'll go through the results real quick, and then we'll hit up another commercial break, and then we'll be right back with the qualifying results. So, Brennan, I'll give you the top 5 here for the practice results.
Alrighty, on top we have it switched over on me. Back here to get back to it. We had Aiko Spokar, the quickest time. Following him would be Alexander Hurst, Mark Kiss, Thomas Nolden, and Gabriel Storr.
I actually can't check the practice times anymore, so that'll be all on you for the rest of the times.
Okay. And following Storr, we have John Searle, followed by Frank Sheetrich, Michael Krafsick, Marion Hensel, Giorgio Ponti, and rounding them out is Andres Top.
Sounds good, man. Well, we're going to go to a quick commercial break while these guys qualify, and we'll be right back with 150 laps of racing action with a bunch of drivers from across the pond in a very familiar setting at Southern National.
On January 1st of this year, we made a major announcement when we added Porsche as our newest partner. The first car we added to the sim was the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, and at the same time, we announced that we would be adding several more Porsches in the future. For the next Porsche, we wanted something special, something unique, something that hasn't been seen in a racing sim before, and something definitively Porsche. Today, that Porsche is here. So here we are in northern New Hampshire where we found the perfect diesel Porsche. It's a model P133 and we're super excited to be able to scan it today. That should take us about 8 hours or so. After that, we'll do photo reference and sound recording. Then we're back to the office to build this sucker. When we're done with this project, we'll have the most authentic tractor ever built. Take that, farming simulator. It'll take some time and a lot of company resources, but we can definitely say this Porsche will be ready to launch sometime in the future.
Welcome back to the Speedway, ladies and gentlemen. I just went to check the chat, and since this is new to me, being back on YouTube for a race, Ricardo Keith saying, we're better than Fox or NBC, and believe me, we both appreciate that very, very much. So, these guys are finishing up qualifying now. Here's a look at your results. We'll go through the grid in just a moment, but before that commercial break, Brennan, I mentioned these guys have 150 laps at Southern National in the super late models, and that's a pretty challenging task to look at, especially if, you know, maybe oval racing isn't your forte, but it seems like these guys have it pretty figured out.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you're doing, I think, 150 laps, no matter how big or how small the track is, it really just takes a lot out of you, whatever it is.
Yeah, for sure, but I'm excited to see how these guys do here today. I almost said tonight. I guess it's probably nighttime for them over there. I believe most of them are from Deutschland. I hope I didn't say that terribly wrong, but you get the idea. You get the picture. So a lot of names out there that we may not be able to pronounce totally down to the T, but we'll go through the starting grid. And on our front row, we've got Akos Boker, I hope I'm not butchering all of these names, gosh. With Gabriel Storr to his outside, Mark Kiss in third place, Michael Krafzik in fourth. Starting off in fifth will be Thomas Nolden, and Alexander Hirsch will start to his outside, Brennan.
Alrighty, in the next row, the inside will be Marion Hensel, and to his outside will be John Serrell. And then our fifth row will be Giorgio T to the inside, and Andreas Top to the outside. And rounding out in the back will be Frank Schichterich. No time put down for him in qualifying, so he's going to start from the back.
All right, and I will mention that these guys do not use trading paints. They sent me actually their car updater, and it looks like it didn't update quite all of their paints. So unfortunately, there's a couple of cars that just have the normal iRacing paint schemes on the stream. Brennan, did it work for the 70, 16, 34, and 22 on your end?
The 22 I have, you said 34 as well? Yeah.
Yeah, the pretty much first through fourth. Do you have actual paint schemes on those?
The 16 I have a pretty basic one, and with the 70, but then for the 34 and the 22 I have quick lane oil change for the 22 and something NASCAR at nextcar.com superstore for the 34.
All right, so yeah, Michael told me that his car, the number 22, would be, I believe, the Ryan Blaney-esque paint scheme, the blue, white, and orange one. I believe that's the one, and unfortunately, that's not coming up on my screen. I wish it was, because I do actually like that paint scheme, and he was excited about running it tonight, or today rather, but nonetheless, we can get it figured out by our next race with these guys. We will not be back next week, unfortunately. PSI TV will be dark on that day, but the following week, for these guys' third race will be live. Unfortunately, we'll miss their fourth race of the season, as I'll actually be in Daytona. So as these guys get ready to go, Brennan, man, I'm kind of pumped to see how these guys do.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say necessarily that you think less of them just from being all European here, because I mean there is a European NASCAR league, although they run like road courses and that. But from what I've seen so far, they really know how to drive the cars really well around here. I think it should be some great racing, no matter where they come from.
And the green flag is actually already out. I forgot just how quickly things move here at Southern National. Green flag out. The number 70 already just pretty much trying to check out on this field. He is about a 3-car length lead over the number 16 of Store here as they round turns 3 and 4 to complete their first lap of 150. And actually, I need to update that part. Sorry about that. But everything's working good, and these guys are pretty much just getting single file here from the start.
Yeah, there was a little bit towards the back of the pack with the 6 and the 99. As you see, the 13's going to go around. I don't know if that'll bring out its yellow. No yellow. Looks like maybe he got it refired.
Yeah, he's going to get refired and get rolling. That was Andreas Top that went around, and he's got the leaders coming up on him already. Unfortunately, the honestly don't really know where he's from, but the European driver, as with the rest of these guys, in the number 13, looks like maybe he's a rookie possibly to the series. I don't know. He's got the yellow stripes on the back of the bumper, but unfortunately he'll go around real early, and again, the leaders are right behind him already.
Yeah, he got a little help there. I didn't quite catch the other car, but luckily no caution yet, and hopefully, I think he probably will get lapped here pretty soon, but hopefully we can get some wave runs, get him back up and back racing with everybody else.
Yeah, hopefully we do get a caution at some point to get him back on the lead lap. It would be nice to see him catch back up with these guys and be able to race it out with them, but he is definitely going to go at least 1 lap down as they've already gone by him, and the number 16 is going to go by as well. So the battle for second is kind of raging on. The 34, sorry, I got to get used to names here. The 34, Mark Kiss, is right on the back end of Store so far.
Yeah, and actually they had a little bit of a 4-car pack there. Actually start to break away a little bit with the lap traffic there, but about a 3-car pack now with the 51 of Thomas Nolden as well.
And watching from Mark Kiss's on board, I mean, he's right there with the 16 of Store. I think if Store makes any kind of mistake, Mark Kiss is right there.
Yeah, definitely. We start to see everyone starting to get spread out past them, though. That's about the only real pack here.
Nolden going for the move. He actually lets, I think he's gonna let Kiss get back in line. It looked like maybe he was gonna go for the move off into turn 1. That's the 51 Thomas Nolden who was looking. He's in a pretty cool paint scheme, if you ask me. I really was a fan of that when it actually ran back in the NASCAR Cup Series when Tony Stewart was driving it, and I really like that Home Depot paint scheme now. So cool to see him sporting those colors, and as these guys continue on, already 12 laps in the books here at Southern National. And you know, this is something Brennan and I were talking about a little bit before the race, is this race will actually go by relatively quickly, considering it's just 150 laps around a very, very small track. So even though it's a daunting length, 150 laps sounds like forever almost. These guys should get through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And so far, we've seen a lot of green flag action. I think this little bit of a smaller field here is helping to promote that. Not as many people to race around, but yeah, we should see this one go by pretty quick.
And right here, I'm just showing off some of our onboard camera angles. You can see one. We just had the nose camera on the 51. Now we're looking from the bumper at the 45 car. Let's see, that's going to be Alexander Hurst in the 45. And we've got plenty more camera angles. So, Brennan, what are you seeing as far as the most exciting action on the track right now?
I still think it's got to be with Mark Kiss and Thomas Nolden at the moment. They're pretty much nose to tail right now. The 16 Store is kind of checked out from them. But really, I think that's the only real battle at the moment.
And this time, I think Nolden is going to go for the line underneath Mark Kiss. He's going to make the move at least to try and make a pass off into turns 3 and 4. He'll give it back, though. So the 51-34 already playing very, very nice. I like to see this kind of racing on a short track.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people tend to kind of, use the bumpers and the fenders per se to kind of muscle their way around people. So it's good to see some real clean, hard racing here.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of our American counterparts wouldn't put up this long with running nose to tail. I at least know a lot of the guys we normally run with wouldn't wouldn't sit patient this long. So I really like that these guys are, you know, being a bit more patient with it, and I think they understand that this is 150 laps, and they don't have to make the pass yet. Although saying that, we've got Alexander Hurst going for the move on the 51 of Nolden.
Not quite gonna get it. He's got the inside line still tucked in there, so it looks like, yep, coming through here, he's actually gonna have a nose ahead at the line, and he's gonna have the pass made. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, just a small checkup as Nolden was trying to pull back in behind Hurst, but I think these guys will get packed up single file again. But it looks like that 45 car, Alexander Hurst, is on the move right now, Brennan.
Yeah, definitely. He's thought he just made that move on Nolden there, and he's already almost all the way up to Marquez. So yeah, it looks like he's found some speed somewhere.
And as we take a quick look at the speedway from above, just want to remind you guys that we're pretty much full up for the 2018 season, so there's a whole bunch of racing that you can catch on PSI TV. This may be our only YouTube streamed series for now, but we do try and archive all of our races, even if it's a couple of weeks after the fact, to YouTube after we do them on Facebook, and we're looking at possibly multi-streaming some races. And I also got to announce that we have picked up the NMNTS Racing Series SimSpec Truck Series for 2018, and that will be exciting to bring to the table for PSI TV. Check out the Facebook page for more on that. And as we get back to the racing action, I actually see a three-way battle, I think, containing the number 22 car. I was wrong. It was not the 22 car. So that was the 00, I thought it was. So the 6, the 00, and the 99 right now are in a pretty tight battle. I saw a couple of them side by side just a moment ago, and they're still just trying to battle with each other. The battle still rages on here, Brennan.
Yeah, it's interesting. About half the field is locked up into two 3-car battles here, and then we have a couple stragglers just on their own. But yeah, doing pretty good so far. It's starting to loosen back up here. The 6 of Cyril and the 00 of Pawnee are starting to pull away from the 99 Andres top.
Oh, and actually,
Marion
somebody
Hansel,
just hit the wall pretty good. I think that was... Oh, I actually have no clue who that was. That may have been the 70 car. Is that our leader? That is our leader. So, Akos Boker, I believe is how you say his name. I could be very, very wrong, and if so, I definitely apologize. But he just got the wall pretty good a couple of laps ago, as he's trailing these guys right now, the 99 and the 00. And yeah, he got the wall pretty good there, Brennan.
It didn't quite catch it, but yeah, it looks like there is some damage on the right-hand side of the vehicle for sure.
I mostly heard it as I was watching these guys ahead of him, as Marion Hensel, Giorgio Ponti, and John Sayero are just trying to stay on the lead lap right now. I think these guys will give way. Oh, and actually the 99, Marion Hensel in the wall pretty hard as well.
Now he's going to run it wide up into the marbles, let Bokar through just fine. And he's going to start to fall back from his little pack here as he gets put a lap down.
Yeah, but I think he can try and use Boker as a bit of a pick as he goes and laps these guys. If he can keep up with that 70 car to a point, he may be able to use him as a pick to try and get a position or two here before too long. And honestly, I think that 99 is possibly my favorite paint scheme on the track. That's a very good looking paint scheme in my opinion. But moving on from paint schemes back to the battle for about second place, it's actually added a couple of cars, I guess, towards the back. I think that's the 50 who is trailed into this pack. Honestly, Brendan, I'm going to have to refer to you on his name. But he is catching up to these guys in the pretty much 5-way battle now for second place.
Yeah, that would be Frank Schichterich in the 50 car.
So yeah, right now he's pulling up behind Mark Kiss and Thomas Nolden as they do battle, and I think Alexander Hurst is starting to reel in that 16 of Gabriel Storr, who is starting to run away from these guys.
Yeah, we saw him. He checked out a little bit earlier when we were watching this battle, but the 45 of Hurst has reeled him in some, and the 51, and Nolden's starting to pull away here as Kiss starts to fall back with Schichterich here as they're going to battle it out here.
And contact was almost made that time as Hurst off into turn 1 was just trying to catch up to the 16, close some ground into the corner, and they almost made contact, Brennan. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not quite catch it. I was watching Kiss and Schichterich at the moment. They had a little bit of contact as well. Schichterich a little bit into the bumper of Kiss Nothing Major, though. They got it going a while. Actually, he's going to make the move here. Oh, couldn't quite get it. Guess had the speed on the high line, but he's still down low for Sheikdrich. They're going to go side by side up to the line. I think a nose ahead for Sheikdrich there. And he's going to make the pass and see if he can catch up to Nolden or not.
And if anyone watching has any questions for us regarding the stream, regarding really anything else that we may be able to answer, be it an iRacing related question or anything really, just go ahead and ask. There is the live chat there via YouTube, and hopefully we're able to bring it to 3 different platforms in the future. We're looking at it. I can't promise anything, but we are looking at multi-streaming so that we can get to multiple platforms. And anyways, as these guys battle on right now, it's all Gabriel Storr and Thomas Nolden really battling for 3rd place.
Yeah, Hurst has just made the pass on the 16 of Storr there, and Nolden as well. Hurst made the move to the inside, and that allowed an open door for Nolden to get through as well. Actually, 50 Sheikdrich is going to come through as well. So, Storr has dropped a bunch of positions in just a couple laps there.
Yeah, you know, he started to run away from these guys a little earlier on in the run, so I think he may have just run some of the tires off of that car, and that's why he's starting to fall back. You know, that's just the first thing that comes to mind, at least for me, is that maybe he just drove the tires off it a little bit, and that's why Storr is starting to fall back. But soon he'll be back within the vice of Mark Kiss. And so, as we're coming to about 1/3 of the way through the race, we'll take a quick break and look at our race summary. Let's bring that up for just a moment. And currently, it's still Bokir out in the front in the number 70 car. We've completed almost 50 laps now. Total laps to complete here today is 150. We've had 0 lead changes and 0 cautions for 0 laps. So, Brennan, I'm looking forward to the following 100.
Yeah, definitely. They've put on a really good show. There's some good side-by-side battles going on there, and good pack battles for short track racing, as we mentioned, and no cautions. That's really impressive for 50 laps in.
Yeah, I'm very, very impressed by these guys. They're just, you know, they're running clean. They understand that this is 150 laps. They don't have to push yet. There's still pretty much 50 more laps until they have to start really thinking about how they're going to finish this race. So, almost like the endurance racing kind of mind with the Rolex 24 going on. And, you know, Brennan and I raced that last week with the help of David Levine and Zach Lindgren. So we kind of have that mentality right now, too, I think, because we're still... I think I'm still feeling the effects of not getting any sleep for almost an entire day.
Yeah.
It certainly messed my week up. So when did I get into racing, Ricardo Keith asks. Well, really it started when I was a toddler. Honestly, that sounds so cliche, but it really did start when I was just a little kid. And, you know, my dad was a NASCAR fan, a huge Dale Earnhardt fan, actually. And pretty much from then on, I was pretty much destined to become a NASCAR fan, and so I did.
Yeah.
But I'm also into all kinds of different racing. You know, obviously, I try and pay attention at least to Monaco when it comes to Formula One. IndyCar, I at least pay attention to kind of what's going on in the championship, especially with the Indy 500. And I really love endurance racing, so I like to pay attention to that as well.
I think I have the better story of the two of how I became a race fan. I think you've heard of that before about how I was almost born at one, actually. Dirt track, and my mom went into labor there, and she decided to stay around and watch the rest of the race before we went to the hospital. So I was pretty much born a racer.
Well, I'd say that's a pretty good reason to be a race fan.
Oh, the 50 and the 6 into contact. 50 hit the pit wall, and actually we are going to have a yellow here.
So John Sayero and I believe the 50 of Stichterich. I hope I'm saying that somewhat closely to how you actually say his name. They're going to be heavily damaged here. The 6 of Sayero has a ton of damage, and I saw the 50 smoking, so he's also going to be in a very bad situation. He may not get back out on the track before the end of this race, honestly, with that motor damage. So we'll take a quick replay on this.
Yeah, Sheikdrich went head on pretty much into the water barrels in the pit wall there. Oh, he actually missed him completely. Caught all wall there.
So we're on the 6 of Sayero, and we'll see what happens. He was a lapped car, And that makes you wonder. Actually, the 50 gave him a huge bump off into turns 1 and 2. That may have been part of what happens here. I think Cyril was trying to get back to that bottom line, and Frank just gave him the bumper pretty much.
Yeah. Before we'd seen a lot of clean really racing, especially around some of the lap traffic that are giving way and all that. But I think they were fighting for the same real estate there, and fortunately, it looks like that was the end of Sheikrich's race. He's already disconnected, so.
Yeah, and I think the defining factor here is going to be that the 50 Frank was honestly just, he was trying to stay in the battle for the lead lap spot that he was fighting for. He was just behind the 51 of Thomas Knowlton. I think that's why he was so impatient to work by the 6 car there. So, I can't really blame for the 50 car getting somewhat physical.
Yeah, definitely. You want to stay in there, and most of the live traffic we had seen so far, they were doing, like I said, a pretty good job of giving away for everybody. So I don't quite know what happened there. I think maybe he just thought he was clear for another corner or something like that, or getting in front of him there was just retaliation for the bump he got or what. But unfortunately, that's going to end Sheikrich's night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure if there's history between these drivers, possibly. This is our first time coming and commentating one of these races with these guys. So unfortunately, this is our first impression of these two. Hopefully there's nothing big there. Hopefully... Oh,
we go green.
Missed the start. I'm sorry. I forgot, again, just how quickly things move here. But hopefully there's nothing really there that impacts the future, as Thomas Knowlton is now our leader, Alexander Hurst in second. I believe it looks like the 70 must have pitted, and the 51 did not.
I don't quite know. I don't know if you saw the start or not, but most of the cars were single file, and the 70 was on the high line. I don't know what.
And actually, I think I'm wrong. I think they all pitted aside from Marion Hensel. I think it was just that the 51 car only took 2 tires.
That's a good possibility. Is actually they're going to do side by side with the 70 of Bokar and the 45 pulling away. Actually, a little bit of contact. The 45 is going to get spun around the 70.
Oh, and he's in the wall hard. So a couple of huge cautions back to back, and I promise this time I'll make sure to get back to the start. But you called it there, Brennan. Contact from the 70 to the 45 of Alexander Hurst, and that's going to possibly end both of their nights. Heavy front end damage to both.
That really hurts to see for Hurst in the 45. He had a really good car, as we saw. He worked through positions really quickly there. The 70 is going to pull it into pit lane here. Front end damage, I don't know if it's going to be enough to stop him from racing tonight. I think he'll have something, just probably not going to be as competitive as he was.
And the big heartbreak there is the 22, who wasn't really even involved in that situation. He's going to end up with a lot of heavy front end damage as well. Like, I guess I wouldn't call it heavy, but it's certainly there. He's definitely got some front end damage after that one in the left front, it looks like. So, unfortunately, Michael Krafzik, not even in the situation, he's going to end up taking some damage, from this incident as well. You see the 70 ends up ricocheting into his left front. Unfortunately, it's damaged, but at the same time, I don't think it'll affect him too much. Thankfully, in that number 22 car. But yeah, Alexander Hurst and the 70 of Bokor right there, just heavy contact with the inside wall, the end of the pit wall. Really the same place that we saw that incident happen with the 50 and the 6.
Yeah, it's they mirrored each other pretty much there on what happened. Luckily for the 22, as you mentioned, I think short track racing like this, the aero really does not affect the cars too much as if we were, say, at like a 1.5-mile track or something like that for the Superloids. But hopefully he should be able to compete still the rest of the night. That's fortunate to see for him. And as I mentioned with the 45, I think that's probably going to end his night.
Yeah, unfortunately, that'll probably be Alexander Hurst pretty much done for the night. You see the 22 now get a wave by virtue of staying out under this caution. Now coming to the restart, this time we are live, and the 34 Mark Kiss gets the green flag, the 99 on his outside, Marion Hensel. Let's see if he can hang there this time. Marion Hensel already falling back, 3rd, 4th place. And now it's pretty much all Mark Kiss, Thomas Knowlton in the front, but Bokor is not too far behind these guys, Brennan.
Yeah, no, so far the damage looks like it's really been too big of a factor for him. Just saw he had really demanding car. He pulled quite away from the second place lead there as he's worked his way to just about 2 car lengths behind from Holden or Nolden there, excuse me.
Yeah, and I think these guys here up in the front will definitely race clean. They were racing very, very clean that first stint. These guys ran the 54 and the 31. Not to say anyone else in this league isn't clean, but just, we saw those couple events take place, and not that it was anything intentional, but hopefully these guys from here on out race pretty clean and green, at least to the end. It was a lot of fun, really. I really enjoyed being able to watch that green flag racing for so long in the super late model. It's not something you see every day anymore, unfortunately, especially at a place like Southern National, but I really enjoyed it, Brennan.
Yeah, definitely, me too. It's hey, we just crossed that halfway mark there, and that's only 2 cautions for some short track racing, and I'll take that any day, I think. 75 laps in and 2 cautions, that's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very impressed by these guys, and I can definitely say I'm proud to come back and be able to do, I think, about 6-7 more races for these guys throughout the spring. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to catch more races with these guys at places like Concord Speedway and Myrtle Beach and South Boston, even, I believe, is on the schedule. So a lot of historic American short tracks on tap for these guys the rest of the season.
Definitely see Nolden actually making the move on the inside here for first place with a kiss, and not going to quite get it there. He's still going to keep it tucked in right under the bumper. He's going to try it again on the back stretch. Still not quite there. Yeah, it looks like he did get there a little bit wide for Kiss there, and we have a new leader.
And now Ricardo Keith in the chat asking how many races I've gone to. Well, so far it's at 6. I've been to New Hampshire Motor Speedway twice, both in the summer, one in 2013 and the other in 2016. I've also been to Phoenix International Raceway twice, once in 2007 for the Chase race in November, and once in 2011 for their spring race. I believe that was the final race at Phoenix that Jeff Gordon won, so that was really cool for me to be able to see. Obviously, didn't know it at the time, but I've also been to Auto Club Speedway a couple of times, I believe in 2009 and 2010, and those were both right after the Daytona 500, and I think Matt Kenseth might have won them both. So Matt Kenseth has a pretty good track record at races that I've been to, but unfortunately it looks like he might not be in NASCAR any further. He definitely doesn't have a ride currently. Hopefully he gets back out there in some form or fashion, but we just saw Boker go right by Mark Kiss. And Brennan, have you been to any NASCAR races?
NASCAR officially, yeah, I've been to the Brickyard twice, and I've been to Chicagoland a couple times, and a long time ago when the truck still ran at Gateway, I was at Gateway once as well. That's about it for NASCAR. Local dirt track stuff, I've been to hundreds and hundreds of races there, and I've been to an IndyCar race as well. I went to the 500 once.
Well, thankfully the trucks still run at Gateway. I just picked that out of what you said there, but definitely a pretty cool resume for you as a race fan as well, and obviously you go to a lot of dirt track racing.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'll be going to Daytona International Speedway here very, very soon. Unfortunately, it means I'll be missing many broadcasts, but we'll get it worked out. Brendan might be able to be on tap for a couple of those. But yeah, I'll be in Daytona very, very soon for the Daytona 500. We'll also be there for the Daytona Duels to set the field for the Daytona 500. And I'll be there for the NASCAR Truck and NASCAR Xfinity races that weekend as well. Unfortunately, I won't be there the weekend prior for the Clash or the ARCA race. But, man, I'm excited to go.
Yeah, definitely I would be too. That's a very prestigious race, especially when it comes to NASCAR to go watch. That's really up there for NASCAR-wise. That's like the race, and right at the beginning of the year. The only other really close one I'd say when it comes to that would be like Homestead at the end of the year when everything comes down to the line and races you want to watch. But
yeah, and I mean, you just got to think Daytona has been prestigious since the inception of NASCAR back in the late 1940s, just after World War II. So, that's been prestigious for 70 years now. And this year will actually be the 60th Daytona 500. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I'll be at the 60th. You don't get to say that every day. So, You know, obviously that's been prestigious for many, many years, and Homestead has only been prestigious for almost 20 now. So, while yes, both very prestigious races now, I mean, Daytona's where it's at for me. But
Yeah,
as this race
definitely.
enters its waning stages here, Brennan, we're almost 2/3 of the way through this race. Thomas Nolden still hanging on strong since he took the lead on that last restart.
Yeah, don't quite know. I think it's just maybe the damage for Bakor. I don't know if maybe the steering wheel got bent up or the steering in the at all or what's going on for him here, but he's not been able to keep up, and Kiss hasn't either. So Nolden with the pretty good drive off of them at the moment. It's got about 2 seconds to Bakor and right about 3 now to Kiss. So he's really checked out, and I don't think Kiss really has anything for Bakor either. So it's really coming down, as you mentioned, to the later stages of this race. So I don't know if we'll see any battles really for the lead from here on out if we stay green.
And you mentioned this, the possible steering damage to the number 70 of Boker, and I can actually see exactly what he may be having to deal with. We go right to his cockpit cam, and we'll see if he's having to steer weirdly at all. It doesn't look like he's really having to steer anything outside of what I'd expect, but you know, I don't think necessarily it's a steering issue. I think it's just down to, you know, possibly a horsepower deficit at this point.
And unfortunately, can't really see the gauges to maybe see if we have some radiator damage or something like that that's heating the motor up or anything like that. The gauges don't quite work for anybody else that's spectating it, but hopefully we can see him the rest of the race. No motor failure or anything like that.
Yeah, and I actually just pulled up a pretty cool camera, just unknowingly. I didn't even expect to bring it up, but the camera I have that's mounted just behind and to the right of the driver that I have up right now, Brennan, it might come on the stream anytime now. I think it's pretty cool just because you can see, you know, how the car pitches when you get on the gas and get on the brakes. You can see the front end dip down a little bit when Boker gets on the brakes for the corners. And I think it's really cool.
Pulled up here. Oh yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like gyroscopic in 2 directions, then I guess, or in the other direction is what you would see normally, like in your NASCAR races, where it doesn't rotate with the corner; it rotates vertically. Then.
Yeah, I believe it's called the pitch gyro and the camera settings. And Ricardo Keith asking another question. I love these questions. Keep them coming. Asking who we think will win the Daytona 500. Well, there's who I hope will win, and then I have no clue who will. You know, honestly, it comes down to speed weeks to really know who's going to have a good chance. But I certainly would prefer one of my guys, Hendrick possibly, and, you know, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman to win. I'm also a pretty big Joey Logano fan. I'm also into, you know, Martin Truex Jr. So when it comes down to it, I'm looking at 3 specific diecasts that I have on my desk, and I've got Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and Joey Logano. So any one of those guys, add in Alex Bowman or William Byron, and believe me, I'll be happy. Boker working through some lap traffic here, Brennan. The 34 Mark Kiss is actually keeping tabs with him. He might be able to catch back up.
Yeah, he earlier he was about a second back, and it looks like he's actually with a little bit of the lap traffic there. It did pull the gap a little bit, but he had it down to about 6/10. So I think he's slowly working his way into maybe being able to make a pass on him. Let's see if he can catch it back up though after the lap traffic.
Yeah, and I think Boker's really starting to drive that car as hard as they can. I'm seeing him get real squirrely out of the corners, really just on edge right now. And obviously, you got to be on edge in one of these cars to be fast anyways, but I don't know. It seems like that 70 is really unstable right now. And oh, actually, 34 in the wall hard, Mark Kiss.
Yeah, it looks like Bokor's going to pull away, obviously, with the contact there, but nothing too crazy with the car. He's not going to have to pull it in, so see if with the damage he can make the time back up.
And believe me, that was more than a kiss to the wall. He definitely hit it pretty good out of turn 4 a couple of laps ago. I'm sorry, I had that joke steaming in my head for a minute. I couldn't not use that. Giorgio Ponti, though, pulling into 4th place. We could see the Italian move forward and possibly get up onto the podium for this race. I'm really liking what I see out of this double O right now. He's starting to creep into the picture. I think before too long, the Italian, like I said, could be in a position to get to the podium here if he can keep catching up to Mark Kiss here, Brennan.
Yeah, timing-wise, showing he's lost a little bit of time last lap, and they're a little bit more there. I don't know. Maybe he can pick it back up. But the gap to the third is catching up there. But I think, excuse me, that was just overall. I think the gap to third is definitely coming up. I was not paying attention on that, but his gap to the overall leader is starting to fall off.
Well, believe me, Ponti's in a really good situation if Mark Kiss makes any more mistakes. We saw him get the wall real good just about 5 laps ago, so if anything else happens like that to the 34, Ponti's in a real good spot to capitalize on that.
Yeah, definitely. He's kind of on his own except for the lap traffic now. Bakar is definitely checked out for him. He's almost half a straightaway ahead, so there's no real battle there anymore. You see Ponti's going to navigate around the 99 of Hensel here.
And as I look through the rest of the field, Michael Krafsik, who got his lap back on the previous caution, just went a lap down to the leader, Thomas Nolden. So Thomas Nolden making quick work, almost Swiss cheese of this field out here right now. He's definitely moving through them nice and quickly. Obviously, he's checked out by about 3 seconds over Boker, and now he's going through these lap guys like nothing else.
Yeah, definitely. 30 laps to go now, so we're definitely right about at the final stage here. So for you guys like Ponti and Bakor, if he's gonna have any chance of getting towards the leader, they really got to start pushing now to make that pass because they have a lot of time to make up.
And looking through the rest of the field, Marion Hensel has fallen to 2 laps down. John Sayerl is still out there, thankfully in that number 6 Taco Bell machine. He's still running, albeit 7 laps behind the leader. And Andreas Top has fallen to 9 laps down. So unfortunately, these guys are well off the pace and certainly many, many laps down. But at least they're still running. That's what I like to see, that these guys are still giving it a shot, seeing if they can pick up a position or two. Seeing what they have left in that car. Gabriel Storr also still on the track in the number 16.
The scoring right there for Ponti to Kiss has gone down to about a second and a half, a little bit over a second and a half away. So he's still making up some time. It looks like from the way he's driving it, maybe having a little bit of issues on corner exit here, but he's actually really starting to work up towards Kiss now, it looks like.
And Brennan, we've just hit 25 laps to go, so I'm going to bring up our race summary once more before the end of the race. Total laps complete now 126 out of 150. We've had 5 lead changes actually, which is up quite high from where we had it last time we checked this out. And 2 cautions for 7 laps so far here tonight, Brennan.
Yeah, overall great race so far. Knock on wood that we can finish it out. I don't have any real doubts that they're not going to be able to do it. Green flag the rest of the way here. It's been a really great race when it comes to green flag racing here. You've seen a lot of some good side-by-side battles for quite a while, and overall, I'm really pleased with what these guys have been able to put on.
Yeah, 0 complaints from the broadcasters here on this one. I really like what's been going on here. I think they've got a good thing going, and I'm excited for the rest of the season with these guys over at the Virtual Oval Championship. And this is their D-Class series, so this is, I don't want to say bottom of the barrel, but this is, where these guys are possibly coming up through the ranks here in this series, in this racing league. So we could see some rising stars of the Virtual Oval Championship. I'm not sure if their higher series are broadcast, so I'm not sure where to point you as far as that goes. It seems like Ricardo Keith may or may not be a fan, I'm not sure, but if he knows, he may be able to point us to it. But definitely check out their site. I can try and bring that up. I believe it's virtual-oval or virtual-oval.de. I think that's where you can go to check these guys out. And it is mostly in German, so if you're American, you might have to run Google Translate on it. But it's certainly something to check out. I think it's a pretty well put together site.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I have to agree on that. The battle appears we look back in towards the race of Ponti to Kiss now. It's gone down to just under a second, so he's definitely making up, or just over a second, excuse me, definitely making up some time here. Like he may have something for the end here. He's got about 15 laps to try and make it work, though.
And so moving back to Ponte, yeah, he definitely is closing in on the 34. Real quick, this is our last little bit of questions that we'll take. Ricardo Keith asking how we met. Well, Brendan, I'd say dirt.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that would definitely suffice for that answer. We just were racing some NMNTS dirt races, and yeah, ended up recruiting this guy for a ride in the NMNTS that now neither of us will be occupying.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, I think it's been pretty worthwhile over the last few months.
Yeah, definitely. Saw from the page you looked at that, and from the DCI or actual team page, the Rolex 24 we did together. That was quite fun. It was interesting being up for over a day together. It's definitely gets interesting, and a little bit of tempers flaring through there, but overall it's been a fun time together ever since we met. So
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it so far, and hopefully we can actually be pretty successful in future endurance races like Sebring and Le Mans. But for now, right now it looks like Ponte is on Mark Kiss, so we're gonna have a battle here for third place before too long.
yeah, and there's a lot of traffic up ahead for him here. So let's see. I think they'll catch up to a lot of them, especially the 16 here. He's going to be the first one up a store. He's a little bit under pace compared to everybody else here. So we'll see if navigating that, if maybe an opportunity opens up for Ponte to make a really big move, or it could be the exact opposite where Store comes down onto Ponte and then Kiss can really just walk away with it.
Yeah, and these guys have been running really clean and green for, all of this race pretty much, minus 7 laps. But I really hope that we see some fiery driving in these next couple of laps. I really want to see these guys like just battle it out for third place. So hopefully Ponte gets up there and sticks his nose in for at least a shot or two to try and get that spot. But Ponte right now, it looks like it's falling back a little bit. I think he got kind of close to the 34, didn't want to hit him, and so I think he backed off. But hopefully he gets back up there, and before the end of this race, challenges for that spot. Back up to the front for just a moment. Thomas Nolden, again, has walked away with this race, now taking 6 laps to go. Pretty much a straightaway ahead of Akos Boker.
Yeah, move here for Kiss now to pass the 16 and the 99 in one move there. That was pretty good. The 99 keeping it way high. I think went 3 wide just momentarily there. And the 16 is going to let Ponte just by just as well here coming into turn 1. So I think there's going to be no issue with the 2-lap traffic cars there so far. Kiss did pull away a little bit more than where the gap was before them, but I think...
Yeah, I think now
Ponte,
it's going to be tough for Ponte to get up there.
Yeah. We came to... would be 4 to go now.
Yeah, 3 laps to go now even, I think, as Nolden goes by the start-finish line. So 3 laps to go, really 2.5 now pretty much, as, wow, almost 2 now. Thomas Nolden rounding the front straightaway once again, now 2 laps to go. These laps go by like nothing. I was telling you that, these are about 15-second lap times, so they go by real quickly. You blink and you miss a lap pretty much. So as we come to the white flag, Thomas Nolden, our leader going into it. He's led pretty much this entire back half of this race and more. Just took off, has checked out from the field by about 3 seconds at one point. Boker made a great run to try and catch back up to him, but your winner at Southern National is going to be Thomas Nolden.
Boker is going to come in second. And then no real competition towards the end there. Mark Kiss in third. Fourth going to Giorgio Ponte. And fifth is going to be Michael Krafsick. He was a lap down, though.
And so a great run here tonight from Thomas Nolden to go out there and finish in the first position. And we can see him doing some burnouts here. This is a really good view of it, actually. I'm glad he did burnouts right in front of the start-finish line. Because I have a camera set up at the bottom of the track there. So that was a pretty good view at first, but yeah, you can see him just burning it down there, and it's nice to see that these guys are still doing burnouts. I guess I don't normally see a lot of the foreign guys do burnouts, but it's pretty cool to see that these guys are totally into it and embracing the short track kind of feel. Oh, jeez, that was
almost an incident.
Whew, that was pretty close there. But Thomas Nolden just took charge of the entire back half of that race, going to end up leading 78 out of 150. So he ends up walking away with the most laps led, even though, we saw Boker pretty much lead that entire start of the race to the first caution. It's going to be Thomas Nolden walking away with the most laps led.
He puts the nose up into the outside wall and he's going to burn it down here for what's left of those tires, I'm sure.
Yeah, there can't be much left on those rear tires there on the number 51 car rather, but he's definitely, I think, somewhat ecstatic about winning this race. So
yeah,
it's cool to see the enthusiasm there from Thomas Nolden with the burnouts. Unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to interview these guys, which we'll, might get that worked out for future races, but got to thank Michael Krafzik over at Virtual Oval for bringing us on for this race. I think it's been a lot of fun. I think it's certainly been worth it. And Brennan, what are your closing thoughts here?
Overall, great race, as you mentioned. We only had 7 laps of caution for some short track racing. It's really great. It's probably as good as you can expect, really, for especially something online like this, where some people have connection issues and the net code that iRacing has sometimes. That's 2 cautions on a short track is great, and 150 laps of racing that went by really quickly as well. That's always great to see. Sometimes the really long races kind of drag out and it kind of gets a little bit boring. I hate to say it, but great drivers out there. Hopefully, I don't know if car count will pick up anymore or not, but it'd be cool to see some more drivers out here. Some more people to battle it out, because unfortunately some people had to retire because of the damage and all that early, but some good battles though, definitely throughout the race. So they have a good group of guys here, and they know how to make it work here at the Southern National for sure. So great race.
Yeah, and I think based on my talks with Mr. Krafzik that we may see more drivers in the future show up to these races. They had about 30 entries in total, which he said, he figured would mean about 10 cars for this race tonight. But hopefully, especially once we get to some of the more popular short tracks, we'll see them really start coming in droves. I mean, hopefully we get to see more cars at whatever the next race might be. I'll actually check the schedule real quick if I can. And yeah, let's see here. Let's see if I can bring this up on my end real quick. And so the next race that we plan to be here for, unfortunately, we will be missing the Bull Ring next weekend. We'll be back for Concord Speedway in North Carolina, followed by, we'll be missing Myrtle Beach, but the next one after Concord that we'll be here for will be Lanier National Speedway, another track very, very close to this, just a mixing bowl of sorts, followed by South Boston, Five Flags, New Smyrna, and Thompson. So a lot of very, very exciting and very fun to drive short tracks on hand for these guys. So I'm excited to really just get to be here for some more of these races.
Yeah, me too. They, as I mentioned earlier, it seems like a really great group of guys. My first time really getting to see them doing some action. So they put on quite a show tonight for, I hate to say it, but especially for some European guys. It sounds a little odd, but a bunch of European guys doing short track racing, which is very popular in the South for Americans, but they put on a great show.
Yeah, and as we're watching here of replay, I was hoping to get to his burnout, Thomas Nolden's burnout again, but ended up getting back to the racing. So I'll play it in slow-mo just so everyone knows this is not live racing. They have finished, and we'll go through the results real quick. Thomas Nolden, again, will walk away with the win tonight. Akos Boker, I believe is how you say his name, in second place in the number 70. Mark Kiss in third. Giorgio Ponzi in fourth, followed by Michael Krafzik a lap down in fifth.
After Krafzik, we had Marion Hensel. He was 3 laps down. And John Searle, 7 laps down. Andres Top, 9 laps down. And Gabriel Storr, 25 laps down. I think he was the last one to actually still be out there. Hurst ended up falling down 84 laps. And Frank Schichterich, he was 93 laps down.
And so that is your running order tonight from Southern National. Again, very honored to be able to have this position with Virtual Oval Championship. I think it's really cool to be able to broadcast for some of these guys that are from across the pond. I think it's really cool to be somewhat international here. So Again, a big thank you to Virtual Oval Championship and Michael Krasik for getting this organized. It's been in the works for the better part of a month now, and I'm glad it happened. I'm glad it came to fruition. I'm really excited for the following races.
Yeah, definitely, me too.
And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to PSI TV with the coverage of the Southern National 150 here from the Virtual Oval Championship. Can't thank everyone enough for tuning in, whether it was live or in the future. Gotta thank you for tuning in, watching the race. It was a lot of fun for myself and Brennan both, and we'll catch you possibly tonight with NMNTS Super Late Model coverage. I'm not sure what the track will be. It's looking like it could be Phoenix or Irwindale, but we'll have more on that later. That will be on Facebook Live if we're able to cover it. Other than that, we may not be back until Friday night with coverage of the Dirt Racing Challenge Series from Lanier National Speedway in the 360 sprint cars, so definitely tune in for that. Head over to our Facebook page if you haven't already, and obviously make sure to follow our YouTube channel for anything we put up here. It's been a pleasure for Virtual Oval Championship. This has been Andrew Cardinelli and Brennan Elshoff in the booth for PSI TV. Everyone have a great day.